Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring the Fading Suns universe book. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review featuring this setting of science fantasy passion play, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the nobility, the way it organizes itself and its lifestyle. In the 51st century, nobility is more prevalent than in any other time in human history, save perhaps the High Middle Ages. Family lines stretch between planets and through jump gates, creating tangled webs of love, duty, and intrigue. While the freedoms of the nobility are many, for example, women can be knights, lords use heretical technology with minimal fear of retribution, and parties that last a fortnight are not uncommon. Nobles also belong to the most scrutinized and criticized class in all the known worlds. In the known worlds, there are 5 major or royal houses: Al-Malik, the Kados, Hawkwood, the Hassat, and Li Halan. Each major house has a series of family lines that, while having their own agendas, still pledge fealty of kinship to the house. Each royal house also has a very special gift, a voting scepter that was given to them by Vladimir I, which enables them to have a say in who the next emperor will be, should the line of succession ever be broken. From the moment of their birth, nobles are expected to know that the privilege they bear is both a gift and a burden. From firstborn to youngest, all children are trained to be proper courtiers, as well as warriors, spies, and diplomats. It is unusual for one to be all 4. Childhood schooling tends to specialize around puberty as talents manifest. Children who show martial prowess may also choose to squire under an anointed knight. While many serve at the pleasure of a knight of their own house, it is not at all uncommon for a child to learn at the feet of a knight from a different noble lineage. As children grow into young adults, several different paths await them. A child of a noble house will almost certainly have a coming out party where they are introduced to the polite society of their home planet, and possibly that of Byzantium Secundus, if they are close enough to the imperial throne. If a young noble is not the party-loving type, they might instead choose to go to a university. While many older nobles frown on university, seeing it as common or even mercenary, Emperor Alexius has made a point of putting more money into academic grants. Of course, if university doesn't suit a young noble's fancy, they might serve as an apprentice with their house's military, diplomatic corps, or intelligence service. Finally, of course, the scion of a noble house might go into the clergy. This option is usually reserved for unruly sons and daughters, or for children who won't inherit. After all, giving a member of the house over to the universal church means one less resource for that house. Now let's talk about courtly love. Perhaps the most important part of any young noble's life, courtly love is a combination of careful diplomacy, bedroom intrigue, subtle artistry, and simple crushing. While it is an integral part of making a good match, courtly love is also practiced by married courtiers, guild members, clergy of gentle breeding, and anyone who interacts with the upper echelons of the known worlds for too long. Courtly love in the 51st century relies on many of the same tropes it has for millennia. Accessories such as fans or gloves are ostentatiously dropped at the feet of the target, typically with the tactically clumsy party hoping to have them returned. Servants run messages through kitchens and up back stairs in the dead of night. Amorous lords and ladies utter proclamations of utmost desires in massive gardens, often with no more promise than a single night. If marriage does occur, mistresses and men on the side are also quite common, especially among older married couples and unmarried landholders. These arrangements can be negotiated by the married parties, or a new lover may come as a shock to the other partner. Of course, courtly love isn't all about finding your next bedmate. While this is fun for a time, and indeed some decide this is where they are happiest, it is imperative for a young noble to find a compatible spouse. They may be looking for someone with whom they are personally compatible, or they or their family may be more interested in learning skills and finance. Some exceptions to these rules exist. Heirs of great houses may be expected to marry someone of their parents' choosing. Wealthy merchants and guild members might play at courtly love, but cannot seriously be expected to find a lasting relationship. When it comes to etiquette, courtly love is a subset of the larger, more delicate sphere of noble etiquette. To call the manners of the known worlds Byzantine is an understatement. While there is a generally accepted set of imperial manners for dealing with the Emperor Alexius and his emissaries, beyond Byzantium Secundus, manners change from planet to planet and from fief to fief. Most etiquette taught to young scions is directly imported from Byzantium Secundus. This allows for an accepted imperial framework of manners and furthers civil communication between houses. Let me give you some examples of this etiquette. In the case of Al-Malik, you should touch the forehead when bowing. Poetry is an acceptable gift for all nobles. Kneeling is saved for the most desperate supplicants. In the case of Hawkwood, do not speak to your betters unless spoken to. Wearing a crown to a meeting with someone of higher rank is a direct challenge. Inviting someone of their entourage to dance with someone of your own is an acceptable overture to further conversation. When it comes to duels, sometimes someone steps outside the boundaries of noble etiquette, behaving in a manner that the carefully balanced system of self-moderation cannot handle. Sometimes someone refuses to be embarrassed by a public shaming, or perhaps they feel they were shamed for the wrong reason. Duels are a sanctioned steam valve for the nobility of the known worlds. Most of the time, they involve two parties, the aggrieved and the aggressor, though some include up to 6. Participants fight with melee weapons, trying to slip through their opponent's energy shield. In a standard duel, honor is satisfied when an energy shield breaks or first blood is drawn. Some duels are more serious. Infidelity, death of a loved one, or other major transgressions may warrant a duel to the death, or at least the yield. These duels are extremely rare and oftentimes scheduled weeks or months in advance. Not all nobles fight their own duels, especially if they don't think they will win. Seconds are those who fight in their place. Members of the muster offer contracts to fight as seconds for nobility, though they are not the only ones. When it comes to hospitality, this is the custom or series of customs that prevents one noble from stabbing another in their guest room out of sheer convenience. Most often, the simplest way to extend hospitality to someone is to offer them bread and salt, or the local equivalent thereof. Guest right affords protection from members of their host's family or entourage who wish to harm them. It also guarantees that they will be safe in their beds and at a table. Let me give you some examples of hospitality. In the case of decados, guests in a decados household or palace are expected to bring a gift. Bringing anything made of gold or resembling gold is insulting, as it is seen as the decados taking an obvious bribe. Guests may shake their host's hand, though they are expected to do so firmly, almost painfully. In the case of Hazat, the Hazat prize their martial capability, so in a rare exception, guests to a Hazat estate are welcome to keep their weaponry, provided they submit to an inspection first. All outside weapons should be kept visible or in the guests' quarters. Concerning the entourage, all of the above can happen to a single noble. Of course, it rarely does. A noble is both a person and a valuable asset to her house. She represents years of investment, lessons in comportment and combat, trust in diplomatic, intrigue, or military matters, and perhaps an actual fortune to her name as well. A noble's entourage varies in size and structure by their rank and what they mean to convey. A knight of House Hawkwood might travel with his herald, a smith, squires, and a cook. A Hazard knight might instead travel with her trainer, a smith, and a squire, and expect all of them to share the cooking duties as needed. It is an open secret that while stewards and senescals of noble households might loathe the presence of a large entourage, there is no faster, more reliable method of obtaining information than the meeting of two servants. A good retainer as an entourage can foil a plot, arrange a tryst, steal valuable intel, or simply listen and report back. This concludes this part of the review for today. In the next part, we are going to talk about the different royal houses separately. As you can see, noble life can be quite ostentatious and complex. It mirrors some aspects of medieval life in real life here on Earth, but in the far reaches of the Fading Suns setting, all of these conventions, sensibilities, and protocol reach new heights of intrigue and culture. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you and see you later.